is now ready.
Alright, how's it going there, YouTube coffee lovers? My name's Dutch Hedrick, and I'm of Rube's Good Brain Coffee here in Kittrell, North Carolina. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's third wave coffee. Now, if you're relatively new to specialty coffee, this may be a relatively new term. But it's pretty simple. What it means is, well, I guess it's easier to first go into what first and second wave coffee is before you can fully understand and appreciate third wave coffee. Now, second wave or first wave coffee goes back to the 19th century, late 19th century, and producers like Folgers, Maxwell House, and guys who were trying to get more and more efficient with their coffee roasting businesses. And what they would do is they would get the cheapest beans they could, and they would try to roast it in a way that didn't make them lose as much of their product through the chimney or the smokestack. This is something that all coffee roasters have to deal with because in order to take the coffee from its green state and transforming it into a drinkable state, one has to roast the coffee. Okay. Now, as the coffee heats up and produces steam, some of that, all that steam is going to have to go up your chimney through the smokestack. You're also going to transform the bean into something which is drinkable. So, by roasting the coffee, you're also going to lose some matter that way. And we like to roast our coffee to the point where it's between, I would say on average, 15% we're going to lose. So if you get $2 worth of coffee, you're going to lose about 30 cents up the chimney. Okay? Just deal with it. You're not going to get it back. Okay? But these first wave, high yield, high profit producers, they try to maximize that and lose as little as they can, and one way to do that is to roast it really quickly. So that's going to make more of the bean left over when you're done roasting it, but what that's also going to do is it's going to make the coffee kind of sour and less enjoyable. But because everyone was doing this, nobody really noticed. You get to the point where you just don't notice because there's no discernible difference between one coffee roaster and another coffee roaster. Now, around the late 1960s, guys like Starbucks and Peet's came along, and they thought, well, we don't like what we're tasting in coffee, so we're going to do it differently. We're going to take our coffee and we're going to roast it more gently. We're going to roast it slower. We're going to get higher quality beans, which may cost more, but we're also going to get something that tastes better in the end. And not only that, we're going to make sure that everyone knows that it's fully roasted. So that's where the term or the expression, you know it's a good quality coffee when you see oil coming to the surface of the bean. Now, that may have been true back then, but I don't think it's necessarily true these days. But we'll go into more of that later. Now, the second wave was an improvement on the way things have been done up until then. So you roast the heck out of the coffee, make sure it's dark, make sure it's oily, and make sure that it's something that's not sour. That's the problem you get with the first wave coffee, is it tends to be a bit more sour. When you're doing the second wave, yeah, you're going to roast it dark. So you're going to roast out any of the imperfections. This is the way they thought of it. And you're also going to make it less sour. Now, you might sacrifice a bit on making it a little more bitter, but that's fine. You know, it's more drinkable. Third wave coffee comes along, however, and they say, well, we're going to up our coffee game a lot more even. So rather than just getting coffee and roasting the heck out of it, we're going to really do a lot more work on the ground. We're going to do a lot more communication with farmers, producers, and say, hey, this is what we're looking for. These kind of coffee, this kind of coffee bean tastes better than that kind. So rather than using mechanical dryers, for instance, everything's going to be dried out by laying it out on the patio. So you lay your grain out on the patio and dry it that way, rather than essentially bake out your coffee by drying it in a mechanical dryer. There are other things. Instead of using mechanical harvesters, which just take the trees and shake the heck out of them, you're going to have them all hand-picked, okay? And you're also going to communicate with your workers, your harvesters, and saying, like the guys at Gold Mountain do, and I like those guys at Gold Mountain a lot. They gave all of their harvesters these red bands here, and said, if the coffee cherry is not this color, don't harvest it, okay? Because it's not going to be ripe enough. All right. All this improves the quality of the coffee, and when you've improved the quality of the coffee this much, you don't need to roast the heck out of it to get a product that tastes good. In fact, you're going to want to only roast it as light as you must, and therefore the unique qualities of each bean come out. So whereas if you took a Kenyan coffee and roasted dark and compared it to a Sumatran and Central American coffee, like I don't know, like Costa Rica, let's say, if you roasted those all dark and put them on the table, you might notice some differences, but they would taste more similar than different. However, the nice thing about third wave coffee is you're going to roast it only to the point where it tastes good, and that means you're going to be able to roast it lighter. And the Kenyan coffee is going to taste different from an Ethiopian, which will taste different from a Central American or a South American, and Sumatran will taste different from all of those. So it's a lot more fun and a lot more exciting, and it brings coffee to the point where wine is, okay, where different regions produce different flavors, and it's just a lot more fun, and it's a lot more worthwhile, okay. Anyway, and frankly, let me just add this: you don't have to be an expert taster to notice those differences. You notice them because they're very apparent, okay. Now, you might not be able to tell the difference between Honduras and Nicaragua, or that in Colombia. However, you would be able to tell the difference between an Ethiopia and a Brazil pretty easily, or a Sumatra and an Ethiopia. All these things, anyone, you don't have to be an expert coffee taster to know the difference between these. So anyway, just to recap, third wave coffee is a progression in the quality of the coffee. So it's going to, compared to second wave, the coffees are generally going to be roasted lighter, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, because you can actually taste the differences in the coffees. And there's more communication with those on the ground who are working to harvest the coffee and produce it, and all of these things help make everyone's lives a little more pleasant, and that's a good thing, I think. All right, if you have any questions, any comments, if there's anything I missed, because I don't edit these videos, I'm still not up to that level yet. Hopefully, I've not missed anything or made any mistakes. So leave your comments, however, below. Like, share, and subscribe if you could, because that helps our channel. And if you want to order our coffee, look for us on Facebook. That's where, especially if you live outside the Kittrell area, that's where you can do all your ordering. And if you have anything you would like to specify, you want to tailor your order in a specific way, which Facebook is making it difficult, just shoot me an email at dutchroaster@gmail.com, or give me a call, and our number is there at our Facebook page, and you'll be able to see, you'll be able to call us up, and we can have a lot more efficient communication that way. Alright? In the meantime, until we make our next video, happy roasting, happy brewing, and happy